I am sending this message from the year 2025. Things are looking bleak here. Some of you will carry blood on your hands. If you don't believe me, please move on, as I have no way of proving to you I'm really who I claim to be. I don't want to waste any of your time, so I'm merely going to explain what had happened. What's up, guys? It is Thursday, December 22nd. It's 11:04 a.m. and this is going to be the crypto newsletter. And to start it off, we're going to go over this video with the UN 2030 agenda and how it's a milestone of UN Agenda 21. So sustainability equals UN Agenda 21 equals endgame. So let's hear it.
What is the difference, if any, between Agenda 21 and the 2030 agenda?
Well, Agenda 21 is the agenda for the 21st century. And of course, you know that the century is 100 years long. And so Agenda 2030 is a 30-year milestone within the Agenda 21 plan. So I really think this is a public relations sort of end game around those of us who've been really alerting the public to Agenda 21. Because now that they're saying, well, Agenda 21 has been replaced by Agenda 2030, there's so much great information out there about Agenda 21 that they're trying to divert you from focusing on Agenda 21. Now, when you know that Agenda 2030 is simply a milestone year within that 100-year period, the milestone years are 2020, 2025, 2030, and 2050. They really fully expect to have this entire plan locked up and completed by 2050. If you go to America2050.org, which is a Ford Foundation and Rockefeller Foundation project, you'll get a look at what their idea is for in fact, what they want the United States to devolve into, which is to destroy the sense of having a unified union, and to, in fact, not have 50 states any longer, to have 11 mega regions. And in fact, what this plan does is it destroys the concept of the nation state, and it completely destroys it and devolves it into the city states or regions. And these are not, like individual cities, like say San Francisco or New York. These are regions that are governed by mega cities, which are huge, enormous cities. It could be part of Washington State, part of Oregon, part of Idaho, and part of British Columbia. So it breaks the national borders, it breaks state borders, breaks, of course, county and city borders. And this is about destroying your ability to actually be able to control what it is that happens to you. It's a plan that...
Wow. Okay. So a couple things while watching this roll through my mind. And I'm going to, first off, this must be an old interview. She died a few years ago, so 2021. So she died, man.
What is the difference, if any?
She doesn't look like she's like sick or anything. So that it's interesting, that kind of conspiracy behind that. But also too, there's been a article and kind of like a deep dive thing I wanted to get into, which you guys, I've had it pulled up on my computer for like a month now, and it's the Bitcoin time traveler. And I'm going to dive into that right now. I'm going to take a U-turn from this. But actually, you know what? I'm going to incorporate it in, because what they're talking about here, the sustainability and having these like mega cities, it reminds me of like factions. And also it reminds me the sustainability part about what's going on. And there was like 3 news articles today with Bitcoin proof of work with the mining. So let's dive into it. All right, guys, buckle up, because we got another one. Kind of reminds me of the Kendra Hill conspiracy. And shout out to Max. He had to give a shout out with how we have a good Kendra Hill video. Max Avery, shout out to him. He had did a good video on YouTube about that with Kendra Hill. So this is kind of like a follow-up. I am a time traveler from the future, here to beg you to stop what you're doing. 9 years ago, this was posted. So we're talking, what, 2013? Yeah, 2013. There was actually a random update to this. It was like a whole thing back in October 2019. You can see update October 27, 2019. But let's go to the original post. I am sending this message from the year 2025. Things are looking bleak here. Some of you will carry blood on your hands. If you don't believe me, please move on, as I have no way of proving to you I'm really who I claim to be. I don't want to waste any of your time, so I'm merely going to explain what had happened. On average, every year so far, the value of Bitcoin has increased by a factor of 10, from 0.1 of a dollar in 2010 to $1 in 2011 to $10 in 2012 to $100 in 2013. So yeah, it was written in 2013. From now on, there's a slight slowdown as the value increased by a factor of 10 every 2 years to $1,000 in 2015. So he had predicted $1,000 in 2015 and it actually happened. Then he said to $10,000 in 2017. And that exactly happened as well too. It actually went to $19,000, $100,000 in 2019, and $1 million in 2021. And this is where there was like a timeline breakup. So right at this point, this didn't come true. But we can keep reading because what he says in here is very interesting. So from here onwards, there's no good way of expressing its value in dollars, as the dollar is no longer used, nor is any central bank issued currency for that matter. There are two main forms of wealth in today's world, land and cryptocurrency. There are just over 19 million Bitcoin known to be used in the world today, as well as a few 100,000 that were permanently lost. And we're still dealing with a population of just over 7 billion people today. On average, this means the average person owns just under 0.003 Bitcoin. However, due to the unequal distribution of wealth in my world, the mean person owns just 0.001 Bitcoin. That's right. Most of you reading this today are rich. I personally live next to an annoying young man who logged into his old Reddit account 2 years ago and discovered that he received a tip of 0.01 Bitcoin back in 2013 for calling someone when he was a 16-year-old boy. Upon making this discovery, he bought an airline ticket, left his house without telling anyone anything, and went to a citadel. What is a citadel, you might wonder? Well, by the time Bitcoin became worth $1,000, services began to emerge for the Bitcoin rich to protect themselves as well as their wealth. It started with expensive safes, then began to include bodyguards, and today's earlies, our term for early adopters, as well as those rich whose wealth survived the transition, lived in isolated gate cities called citadels. Just like that, what they're trying to, we just heard in that video, right, with the mega cities. And so, yeah, those rich whose wealth survived the transition lived in isolated gated cities called citadels, where most work is automated. Most such citadels are born out of the fortification used to protect places where Bitcoin mining machines are located. The company known as ASIC Miner to you is known to me as a city where Mr. Friedman rules as king. In my world, soon to be your world, most governments no longer exist, as Bitcoin transactions are done anonymously, and thus most governments can enforce no taxation on their citizens. Most of the success of Bitcoin is due to the fact that Bitcoin turned out to be an effective method to hide your wealth from the government. Whereas people entering rogue states like Luxembourg, Monaco, and Liechtenstein were followed by unmanned drones to ensure that governments know who is hiding wealth, no such option was available to stop people from hiding their money in Bitcoin. Governments tried to stay relevant in my society by buying Bitcoin, which just made the problem worse. By increasing the value of Bitcoin. Governments did so in secret, of course, but my generation's Snowdens are in fact greedy government employees who transferred Bitcoin to their own private account and escaped to anarchic places where no questions are asked as long as you can cough up some money. The four institutions with the largest still accessible Bitcoin balances are believed to be as following. ASIC Miner, 50,000 Bitcoin. The IMF's Currency Stabilization Fund, 70,000 Bitcoin. Government of Saudi Arabia, 110,000 Bitcoin, and then the North Korean government, 180,000 Bitcoin. Economic growth today is around 2% per year. Why is this? If you own more than 0.01 Bitcoin, chances are you don't own anything with your money. There's no inflation and thus no incentive to invest your money. Just like the medieval ages had no significant economic growth, as well as wealth was measured in gold, our society has no economic growth either, as people know their zero point zero 0.01 Bitcoin will be enough to last them a lifetime. The fact that there are still new Bitcoin releases is what prevents our world from collapse so far, it seems. But people fear that the decline in inflation that will occur during the next block halving may further wreck our economy. What happened to the Winklevoss twins? The Winklevoss twins were among the first to die. After seeing the enormous damage done to the fabric of society, terrorist movements emerged that sought to hunt down and murder anyone known to have large balances of Bitcoin or believed to be responsible in any way for the development of cryptocurrency. Ironically, these terrorist movements use Bitcoin to anonymously fund their operations. Most people who own any significant amounts of Bitcoin no longer speak to their families and lost their friends because they had to change their identities. There have also been a few suicides of people who could not handle the guilt after seeing what happened to the bag holders, the type of skeptical people who continued to believe it would eventually collapse, even after hearing the rumors of governments buying Bitcoin. Many people were taken hostage, and thus it is suspected that 25% of Bitcoin rich actually physically tortured someone to get him to spill his password. Why didn't we abandon Bitcoin and move to another system? Well, we tried, of course. We tried to step over an inflationary cryptocurrency, but nobody with an IQ above 70 was willing to step up first and volunteer. After all, why would you voluntarily invest a lot of your money into a currency where you know your wealth will continually decline? The thing that made Bitcoin so dangerous to society was also what made it so successful. Bitcoin allows us to give into our greed. In Africa, surveys show that estimated 70% of people believe that Bitcoin was invented by the devil himself. There's a reason for this. It's a very sensitive issue that today is generally referred to as the tragedy. The African Union had ambitious plans to help its citizens be ready to step over to Bitcoin. Governments gave their own citizens cell phones for free tied to the government ID, and thus governments sought to integrate Bitcoin into their economy. Isn't this crazy too? Because this was in 2013 that he was making these predictions, and like we're seeing a lot of these things happen. I think just the other day that the government ID and the digital ID and stuff with Australia, I saw something. But and thus governments sought to integrate Bitcoin into their economy. All went well until the tragedy that is. A criminal organization believed to be located in Russia exploited a hardware fault in the government-issued cell phones. It's believed that the entire continent of Africa lost an estimated 60% of its wealth in a period of 48 hours. What followed was a period of chaos and civil war until the Saudi Arabian, North Korean governments, two of the world's major superpowers, due to their authoritarian political system's unique ability to adapt to the Bitcoin challenge, divided most African land between themselves and were praised as heroes by the local African population for it. You might wonder, what is our plan now? It's clear that the current situation cannot be sustained without ending in a nuclear holocaust. I am part of an underground network who seeks to launch a coordinated attack against the very infrastructure of the internet itself. We have at our disposal about 20 nuclear submarines, which we will use to cut all the underwater cables between different continents. After this has been successfully achieved, we will launch a simultaneous nuclear pulse attack on every densely population area in the world. We believe that the resulting chaos will allow the world's population to rise up in revolt and destroy as many computers out there as possible until we reach the point where Bitcoin loses any relevance. Of course, this outcome will likely lead to billions of deaths. This is a price we are forced to pay to avoid the internal enslavement of humanity to a tiny elite. This is also the reason we contacted you. It doesn't have to be like this. You don't have to share our fate. I don't know how, but you must find a way to destroy this godforsaken project in its infancy. I know this is a difficult thing to ask of you. You believed you were helping the world by eliminating the central banking cartel that governs your economies. However, I have seen where it ends. Crazy, crazy, crazy. And just like they were saying the citadels, right? I don't know if anybody knows about Blockchain City. I think it's back over in, over near like Las Vegas. Building a city on blockchain, April 14, 2021.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
Basically, discuss how Blockchain CEO developing a city in Nevada based on cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. They're doing it as we speak. And then also what that lady was saying back here, or I think it was on another tab, but about the mega cities and how the America 2050 agenda is planning on doing that. Very interesting stuff. Then we have the European Union just introduced the first step of a personal carbon credit system. Every citizen will have to start paying for their carbon emissions in an effort to cut emissions by 55% by 2030. Do you see now why banks and airlines were already tracking it? For those too lazy to Google, straight from the EP itself, EU media, everyone in Europe will pay for CO2 emissions. Very interesting stuff. What's going on in the world? I mean, I feel like we got our finger on the pulse of it, and we know what is basically kind of issuing this in, what's technology they're using. So the carbon border adjustment mechanism with the EU governments earlier this week to prevent carbon leakage will be phased in at the same speed that free allowances in the ETS will be phased out. So we're seeing all these things happen, right? We're seeing the sustainability movement, the ESG movement. We're seeing all these initiatives, these agendas, right? And we got the timeline too, 2025, 2027, I think that lady said as well too, 2030, as well as 2050. So we're in the stretch here, that's for sure. It's going to be very interesting to see how all this plays out, especially now reading that Bitcoin time traveler article. I definitely see some of those things playing out. Let's keep going, because a new report titled Financing Digital Public Infrastructure was published by Ernst & Young and New America, right? And then with contributions from MIT, Rockefeller Foundation, Gates Foundation, and Ford Foundation, and others. So approaches to sustain digital transformation. So let's kind of go through a summary here. He said the opening paragraph boldly acknowledges the situation we find ourselves in and globally. Legacy systems are no longer fit to govern 21st century societies, and every country and community needs systems suitable for the modern digital age. The report focuses on how the public, private, and social sectors can collaborate to finance digital public infrastructure. In order to achieve this, they argue governments should use open APIs to strengthen interoperability, Interledger, and Quant with Overledger. Beyond financing, the report states that leaders are committed to a digital public infrastructure, like a digital public good, also need to work together on prioritizing interoperability. So digital payment solutions should be interoperable with registries for delivering social assistance, just like Stellar with Stellar Aid. I don't know about you guys, man, but all this stuff gives me goosebumps. It jacks me up, because like when you have your finger on the pulse of really what's going on, you just feel so empowered that you can see the future, right? So Stellar Aid, United Nations. So United Nations tapped Stellar blockchain to aid war-impacted Ukrainians. So they're going to be able to send relief like instantly, and that's what they're spelling out here. They're saying that digital payment solutions should be interoperable with registries for delivering social assistance. And why would maybe it's just Ukraine now, but what happens when, say, a scenario that like the Bitcoin time traveler says, and the whole world needs assistance, right? And ideally facilitate cross-border transactions. Projects that are piloted by multiple jurisdictions from their inception could be more likely to achieve such interoperability. They even highlighted specific multinational blockchain infrastructure designed for economic development and social inclusion. It's called the LAC chain. Ever heard of it? Quant provides interoperability for its entire 16-country ecosystem. As we watch influential organizations come together to discuss future digital infrastructures, we can continually see them agree upon open, interoperable APIs. Each day, it has become clearer how well-positioned Quant is to capture absurd value in the upcoming digital asset revolution. To access the report in its entirety, tap here. So I have the whole report right here, but we're not going to dive through it on this video. Maybe I'll do a deep dive on this separately because it's 51 pages, but we know the coins that are going to lead this new digital infrastructure, right? Energy Web is one of them. Energy Web is partnered up with the United Nations as well, too. They have the Crypto Climate Accord. But first, let me dive into Energy Web joins Hyperledger Foundation to accelerate Web3 interoperability. So their goal with the Crypto Climate Accord is to make all blockchains carbon neutral or carbon negative by 2030, and Ripple's on that too. So let's go to that. Yeah, right here. So you have the Crypto Climate Accord, make crypto green, right? So what is the Crypto Climate Accord? Surging demand for cryptos and accelerating adoption of blockchain-based solutions have highlighted an important issue. The technology is growing energy consumption and its impact on our climate. They're trying to make crypto green. You got Energy Web, the Alliance for Innovative Regulation, RMI, our supporters. You have even more. There's 250 plus. and Ripple's on there. You got Tezos on there, Engine on there, Consensus is on there. You have Polygon on there. You're seeing the initiatives and you're seeing these consortiums being brought to light here. Where's Ripple at? It's not on their main page, so that's how you know they have more than 250. But let us look at the article, because they are in fact partners. So right here, Consensus, Ripple, EDF, Energy Web target public blockchains to go green. There we go. They have the Crypto Climate Accord, cryptocurrency industry 100% renewable by 2030. The same timelines. And then we have XRP Ledger, for example, is to become the first carbon-free blockchain. And they have the Zange, XANGE, the carbon credit solution built on the XRP Ledger, partnered with in collaboration with the United Nations. We all know this, right? And then let us go to the article with Energy Web and the United Nations. Well, I just came across this article, all of these. That's for a separate video, but I'm trying to find it. It's with Colorado or something. Oh, it's the Rocky Mountain Institute. Right here. So news.un.org, right? So United Nations, on their blog, you have their news, and it's talking about sustainability solution or climate calamity. Right there. I mean, the dangers and promise of cryptocurrency technology. And then you go down here, right? And it talks about the Crypto Climate Accord, finding low energy solutions in April 2021. 3 important organizations, Energy Web Foundation, Rocky Mountain Institute, and the Alliance for Innovative Regulations form the Crypto Climate Accord. So the aim of the accord is to decarbonize the industry in record time and achieve net zero emissions in the global cryptocurrency industry by 2030. So you're seeing all these connections, right? If you like this video so far, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, get updated in real time. We push out a lot of videos a day, and we're bringing that heat. So leave a comment and like if you like this. So let's keep going, because we've seen that. We've seen the Crypto Climate Accord. We've seen how Energy Web joined the Hyperledger Foundation recently, like a week ago, 10 days ago. Then we saw the carbon credit solution or tracking with the EU, the personal carbon credit system. We've seen how the European Union, like this is the document, climate change deal on a more ambitious emissions trading system. And I'm going to dive into this in a separate video. And then we saw the new report, financing digital public infrastructure. That's the longer version of it. And then also we have this right here. This, I am afraid, Jim Cramer may have it right. Buckle up. Gary Gensler has said it too many times in Congress, right and left, have given him the blessing to do it. The runway for the crypto platforms that are not in compliance with the US standards is very, very short. Please be careful, as I suspect the sweep is going to happen soon. It's been promised too many times not to be, that's for sure. So get your stuff on a ledger, get your stuff on trusted exchanges. Also, other news for today about mining and the sustainability, we had so many things. We had this right here. So Europe's last Bitcoin mining refuge is no longer viable. Miners moved to northern Norway and Sweden to avoid high energy costs. Now power prices are surging there too. So the last viable regions in continental Europe for miners are now also suffering from high energy prices. So miners are powering down. Then we had this as well too. We had another mining thing going on. We had British Columbia imposes 18-month moratorium on new crypto mining operations. British Columbia becomes a third Canadian province to curb the industry's energy usage. So they're limiting the industry's growth as it looks to preserve capacity for communities. So we're seeing the narrative being built. It's been being built for a while now. And yeah, man, definitely crazy. So if you haven't already subscribed, hit the notification bell, get updated in real time. Also, too, on our website, stargate-ventures.com, let me pull it up. We got the free Crypto Masterclass Accelerator on here. You got like about 9 days left to get this free. It's 13 videos to prepare you for what's to come in 2023. Fundamental videos preparing you for a macro mindset for the next coming crypto craze. And I believe it's coming here soon. So get this free Crypto Masterclass Accelerator. What do you got to lose? It's free. And it's heat as well too. And January 1st hits, we're stopping the free Masterclass Accelerator. And so you might as well get it now. And you're going to be grandfathered into that just because if you didn't finish it by January 1st, it'll still be free. You can still access it. So at least claim it. And then if you can't get to it before January 1st, it's fine. You'll still be able to go through it. Also, join the Discord. I'll put the link in the bio. We got all these automated signals in here flashing for a bunch of individual coins. I mean, we got the X's, rolled up tight. We got stocks and other signals, gold, silver, as well as we got the pair-to-pair signals. We've been crushing it. I actually just gave a signal here just before this video. I said, I'm noticing some big signals in here. We nailed our XDC trade from XRP. Maybe we can hit a hopscotch double whammy. That might have to be a new strategy, a hopscotch double whammy. Now converting XDC into Songbird, because Songbird has flashed some huge signs against XDC. I see a 1 day prepare to sell soon, 2 day, and a 3 day with a 12-hour sell now. Usually the stars align there. So we might be hitting that. So if you want to get updated in that real time, come join the Discord. The link will be in the bio. Once you get in there to get access to the automated signals, click on Launchpad. And once you see like a see plans thing here, click that and then open it up. And then if you still see the 12 days till Christmas special, bite the bullet on that. It is so cheap. It's unreal. I had to be convinced to do it, to be honest. It's $20 a month, but it will get you access to the automated signals and the market updates, newsletter updates, and the deep dive research reports. And we're doing $20 a month. So get that, get in there and lock yourself into that rate. You'll be grandfathered in because January 1st rolls around for that. We're stopping this, we're stopping that, and it's only going to be the higher prices. So definitely get that deal today. No time to wait. So that's it, guys. That's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed this one. I definitely did. That's for sure. So I'll see you in the deep dive today. We're going to cover the black swan scenarios and the gray swan scenarios as far as for 2023. So I'll see you in that one.